right, we're going to talk about Python classes and objects. Now that's considered to be an advanced topic. So we're going to look at it now because as a student assignment, we're making an inventory system. And classes and objects is an easier way to work with objects that are related to each other. For example, look at this diagram here. This is the diagram of our inventory system. We have customers, orders, products, inventory movement. You know, one customer, this customer number 123, could have a bunch of orders. You know, what links them is the customer number. You put the customer number in this object, and then you put the customer number in the order object. Now, if we're going to use something like a dictionary, we would have no choice but to do it that way. But I'm going to show you that with Python objects. All right, without objects, how would we represent our customers and orders? We would use a dictionary. For example, let's make a dictionary called customer. We have 3 keys: customer number, name, postal code. Customer number is 123, name's Walker, postal code 8035. Okay? Now, how would we go about adding additional attributes to this dictionary? Well, we could say, for example, we would say customer, put some new key value in here. Let's put email. Okay, simple enough. Now print out customer. Okay, it's got the added attribute email. What about if we want to make orders? Okay, orders is a complex object, right? If like here's an order, okay? If we want to put an order inside of a customer, how would we do that? Okay, first of all, let's make an order. Let's just put a date here. Okay, we need to put the same customer number so that they'll be, you know, so we know that they're related to each other. And then let's create 2 orders. Okay, order 1, order 2. Second order has the same customer number. It needs to have a different order number. Order date maybe can be the same. Order product, we buy something different. And quantity, 300. Now we've created 2 orders. So if we want to put these into the customer dictionary, we would have to use an array, right? So let's make an array of customer orders. So inside the customer object, we're going to add an array of order 1 and order 2. Run this. Now look at customer. Okay. We could see here it is. It's the customer dictionary contains inside of it 2 orders. 1 order here, 1 order here. Now, the reason you would want to use objects is it's a little different to, for example, address these attributes. For example, you know, what if we want to look at customer orders? Well, we can refer to orders by name, like we can say, customer, name orders. Give me the orders. Okay. But then if we want to get individual details, like for example, if we want customer order, the first one, which is index number 0, if we want to know the quantity, we have to write something that looks a little bit strange like this. Okay, 150. It works, but it's a little bit awkward. And we'll see that working with classes makes it a little bit more natural, a little bit easier to work with. All right, let's make a customer class. Class is like object. There's a difference. A class is a definition of an object, and then an object is an instance of the object. That's a circular definition, but you'll see. So let's make a class called customer. Okay? And we can make it simple. We can just say type equals 2, something like this. We make customer be an object, capital C. We run this, ask what is customer. It's a customer object. You can think of that, for example, as like suppose you make an integer object, right? You say, normally to make an integer, we just say I equals 2. But we can also say I equals int 2, because int is a kind of an object in Python, right? But we would normally use what's called a constructor. Here's a constructor. Constructor is a method that all objects need to have. It tells the computer what fields we want to initialize when we first create the object. Now, for example, okay, a bare minimum customer, a customer would have a name, an address, and all that. Just the bare minimum, they're going to have they need to have a customer number. So we make this thing called a constructor. It's just a function called init. All object-oriented programming has a constructor. So we have to put this word self here. Self in Python means the object, myself. So we want to do self. We want to make a new attribute called customer number. And we'll make it say be equal to customer number. All right. That means, this parameter, customer number, stick it in this attribute. Now we could have called this, XXX. It doesn't matter. If you're a little bit, uncomfortable with using the same word twice. But this up here means it's a parameter. Okay? And this is the object. So now when we create a customer, it's expecting, because there's a constructor, that we give it a number. So let's select a new customer. We'll call it customer 123. Now if we print out the customer, it's still going to just say customer object. But now we can say customer number. All right? 123. Now we can add attributes like this. We can say customer, email equals, walker@email.com. That's a legitimate operation. We can do that. And then we print out customer email. There it is. Now you should know that in Python and other programming, Python allows this, but other programming languages don't allow you to address variables like that. Like for example, Java would require you to do something like this. We would say set email. Make a function called set email. Self email. Self email equals email. You know? Then if we want to set the email to be something on that customer, we would run this function. We say customer.set email equals this. All right. We set the email here to be the value of the parameter. All right. On the customer object, we want to get the email. So we just run get email. Prints it out. Again, that's the same as saying customer.email. Now, all right, that's pretty simple. Let's talk about orders. Okay, orders is a complicated deal, right? But we make it less complicated by making an order object. And look at this constructor here. An order obviously needs more than a customer number. It needs to have an order number, order date, product, quantity, okay? So we created an order class, just like we made a customer class. So we run this, it's created. Now how do we make an order? When we make an order 1, we need to give it all these attributes. We need to give it a customer number, give it the same one as we did above, an order number, an order date, product number, okay, quantity. All right. Now, let's make another one, order 2. Okay, so order 1 is an order, right? So we use capital letters as the convention. Order 2 is an order with these values. All right, so we can create these two. Now let's go back into our constructor for the customer. Here's where you need to initialize all your values. Initialize meaning set them to some initial value. So we want an array to contain orders. Now, we want to have a method to add orders. So we say, add an order to the customer record. Self, and then an order. The order is an object, so we don't list the attributes. Now, self orders is an array, so how do you add to an array? Well, you use the append method. All right. So let's run all this again. We have to start at the beginning since we updated something here. Now the customer object, now we can say customer add order. Order 1 customer, add order, order 2. What does this do? Okay, it takes this complex structure, which we've made simple in order, and it attaches it to the customer object. So now we have what we want. We have the customer with orders inside of it. Let's run this. Okay. Now we can do this. We can say customer orders. Was it with an S or I don't know? Orders. 0, the first one. Okay, that gives you the method. Suppose we want to print something out. Quantity 150. Okay, but that's not any cleaner than doing what we did with the dictionary. So we'll make an array here. We'll say def get orders. Okay. And we put the word self, since it's always required. And we'll say return self orders. What is that? Okay. Orders is the array of orders. Here we added orders. We did through the append method. Now we're going to return them. So go back and create everything again by running the individual cells. Now, if we do customer get orders, that's an array. So let's say for order in customer get orders, print order. See what that does. Okay, it just prints the order object. So we can look at our order object. What does our order object have? Well, it has order date, order number. So we can say print order date. And order, what was it? Order number, order date. Order number, order date. Both capitals. Yep. Run this. Spelled it wrong. Oh, it's a lowercase. Order number, order date. Okay. That's it. So to review, we have a customer class now. We've used this to replace the dictionary because it's a far simpler way to work with things. In our constructor, we gave it a customer number. We initialized the other variables to empty values. We made a method to set and get the email because that's the way you do it in Java. Some programmers would insist on that. With Python, you can skip that because you could put, customer.order. We can get the values and set the values directly. I frankly like that because it makes the Python code shorter. Here we initialized our customer order, created it, so we made a customer object be an instance of customer class. Okay, that's the terminology. Here we made an order class, gave it this constructor with all these attributes. Customer number is the parameter. Here's the attribute self customer number, order number, order date, product number, quantity. Here we made two orders objects, right? Then we added them to the customer using the add order method. Look back up here. There it is. Okay, remember orders was an array. So we added an order using the append method. Then we made this function called get orders. It just returns this array of orders. So here we said for order and get orders, which is an array, print out the order number and the order date. All right, that's it. Now, if you look at the lecture that I've written on the GitHub site for Hypatia Academy, you will see I also talk about object inheritance. Okay, that's a little bit more advanced topic, but I encourage you to read that because it's something that you can use. We will not use it in the student inventory project. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.